Hey, so how do you dress for networking events? Any like company social event or just any social event or networking event that you have to go to. What do you do? And so the key is that even though you probably want to blend in, you actually don't want to blend in. You want to stand out because you want to be remembered. You want people to remember you and notice you, and you want to seem interesting to talk to and give people something to talk about and something that sticks in their minds. So what you're going to want to do is what I call it'll be either accented, one up, or three down. So accented means for example, if I had a suit on and then I wore a yellow belt, let's say, just some bright yellow belt. Like, who's doing that? So that's going to stand out because everyone else has black belts or brown belts. And so I have the yellow belt. And then so that way people will say, oh, that guy with the yellow belt. Or when they're looking around the room, they'll be like, what's up with the yellow belt? So that's accented. So it's something that stands out that is not blended or like normal. It stands out. So I was at an event recently, and some guys had the fedoras on, or some interesting hats, and nobody else had that. And I remember those guys. Then one guy had a suit, and then he had some vintage Air Jordan sneakers on with it, and he was the only one that had those at that event. And then I went to talk to him because I said, "Hey, cool shoes," because and that stood out. So that's accented. You have kind of you're dressing like everyone else, but then you have the accent thing that stands out that kind of sets you apart, where people go, "Huh, what's going on there?" And then they remember that. So then later on, when I'm talking to my friends, hey, remember the guy with the shoes? Remember the guy with the hats? And then if you there's also there's one up. So that means if everyone's dressing a certain way, then you're going to dress a little bit better. You're going to take it one notch up, and so then people will say, "Huh, this guy." We're all dressed kind of casual, business casual, and he's formal, right? And so that stands out. So then, once again, like, well, what's going on here? It's just something that kind of, instead of blending, you stick out a little bit more and you want to be remembered once again, and it makes people notice you in the room. And then three down, so if you are more casual, so if it's formal, but you're like business casual, then people go, huh. So, and it's, well, three down would, so like you're casual. So it's formal and you're casual. People would say, well, what's up with that guy? Why is he obviously doesn't care. So then it must be like, oh, who would do that? Who would come casual when it's supposed to be formal? And I need to talk to that person because what's up? I have to find out. And so that can be like with your outfit, or it could just be with an item. Like I know that in Hong Kong, uh, in there's several pockets in Asia where watches are the rage right now at the filming of this, and so people will always have their most fancy watch on. Guys will really flex with their watches, and so they always have this competition. It's an unspoken competition. Everyone wants to show their status with their high-end watches, and so everyone has the high-end watch. And so what I did, I was like, well, I don't want to compete with watches, and then I don't want to do that. So I showed up with my Timex and had that sucker on. And I remember a woman came up to me at this event, and she said, what's with your watch? And I said, what do you mean? She said, nobody will talk to you with a watch like that. And I said, well, you're talking to me. And she said, well, I'm not like everybody else. And I met a lot of people that night. And I did notice that there were some actual big shots in there. I'm just a regular dude, but there were some big shots in there, and you know what? They had watches like this too. So, it's because it's like, hey, I'm not playing that game. I'm playing a whole other game, and I'm just trying to, people notice that because if everyone's on the watch game, I don't want to play the watch game. And the only way to win is not to play. So, by doing that, people notice, hey, who does he think he is? Who's that's not flexing the watches? They want to talk to you to try to figure out what's going on. And so, remember that either accented 1 up or 3 down, or accented with the 1 up or 3 down. It's always good to throw that accent in, the accentuated item that people are going to remember. It's going to help you stand out, that people, either it's a conversation starter when they come up to you, or it's just something that in their minds when they're talking about you, hey, what's up with the yellow belt guy? And it really helps you establish your presence in the room, which is what you want to do. So something to think about. That's all for today. Enjoy.